Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final installment of my review of the countries I went to with my wife, aka Girlfiend, this summer in Europe. Today, we are going to be going through the portion of our trip that went to Sweden and Iceland. And what you're looking on the screen, of course, if you watched one of the previous videos, is my favorite meal on the cruise ship we were on, Norwegian Cruise Line. I just want to give a cheap plug to them because it was a fucking amazing crew. They didn't pay me or put me up to this or anything. And as far as a vegetarian like myself goes, this meal you're looking at was the fucking bomb. It's two vegetarian patties, American cheese, with a side of watermelon and a Long Island iced tea. Living the dream, folks. Living the dream. But enough of the intro. Let's wrap this up and start off first with Sweden. So our cruise ship took us from Finland into Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden to be specific. And ladies and gentlemen, it takes forever to do that. There are all these channels and stuff. And in that previous picture, you saw an old World War II embankment. I don't know, they might still use it today, just like a fortified embankment to shoot anyone that comes through these channels. And they had those little fortified embankments there because it takes so long that none of the boats could really speed through the area, so they could gun them up real easily. Anyways, it's just a lot of turns, and the boat was going like -5 miles per hour. But anyways, it was a nice way to tour the countryside. McDonald's, they're everywhere, people. Anyways, it was a nice way to tour the countryside and look out of the cruise ship as we were approaching Stockholm that morning. And anyways, it was pretty neat. Anyways, all right, Stockholm, Sweden, another city in Europe where the traffic is so minimal. My God, I got so spoiled with this. I lost concept of what it was like to be in cities that have like very little traffic. What you're looking at here is the Fram Museum. This ship was built over to take over the world. I don't know, at the time, they had great ambitious thoughts. It was hundreds of years ago they built this ship. It was the most armed ship at the time. Like you could see all the whatever you call it, the hole in the ship where the cannon comes out. Anyways, the cannon ship holes. Um, they had them all over the ship, all over the back of the ship and everything. Anyways, this was a beast of a motherfucker of a ship. This was the Fram, F-R-A-M, was that what it was called? Yeah, Fram. I'm probably brutalizing the enunciation of it and how they say it in Sweden. But anyways, this ship was a big, monstrous motherfucker of a ship. We'll get to the ship part in a second. Anyways, they built this ship to take over the world. Sweden was going to stake its claim in the world. This big, monstrous, stacked to the teeth with armament ship set sail and sunk. Literally, in its maiden voyage, a few minutes after it set to sea. What you're looking at is the ship in pretty much its entirety after it was in the sea for, I think it was it was around 200 years or so. It was brought back to the surface, according to the video I watched. It was like the 1950s. Anyways, all but 95% of the ship of what you're looking at is original parts. So that's kind of amazing that the ship was under the sea for several hundred years, 200 some hundred, I don't know, look it up, I forget. It was such a long time ago, and there's so much historical shit I saw. Speaking of history, it's the ABBA Museum. What Sweden would be complete without an ABBA Museum? Well, this one had it. Didn't get to go to the ABBA Museum. We're a little pressed for time in Sweden due to a late boarding and a late deboarding. The fuck, I forget what it's called when you leave the ship, when it ports and fuck. Anyway, we didn't have much time in Sweden, but got to see quite a bit when we were there. Not the best of weather days while we were there, but it wasn't raining, so I can't complain. Unlike when we were in Flam, Norway, it was just like raining like a motherfucker. Which, by the way, I uploaded a video a little earlier today of the speedboat tour in the fjords in Flam, Norway, so you can get an idea if you want to watch that. You can see what it was like to be out there in the rain in the speedboat, and just a very lovely Norwegian summer day. Anyways, um, One interesting thing that I noticed, besides the fact that there is a World Trade Center in Stockholm, Sweden, yikes, um, is they have a casino in Stockholm, and there's a limit as to how much you can gamble. Like imagine that. It's like you go into a casino, like you lose too much, and they say, "Sorry, you can't play anymore. You lost too much money." Wow, that would never sell in America. Anyways, or never work in America. There's a wedding here at the town hall in Stockholm. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday that we were in Stockholm. I just found it unique that a lot of these European countries that we went to, we would see active actual weddings during the week. In the city hall here, and there's a thing where you can go up to the top of the tower here in the city hall. We didn't do it because again we were pressed for time, but yeah, it's weird because like in America, it's like you pretty much have a wedding on a Friday or a Saturday, and that's it, unless you want to elope during the week. But anytime you have a big wedding with a big bridal party and everything like that, you have it during the weekend. But in Europe, in like Russia, we saw weddings on it was like a yeah, it was a Monday that we were there. We saw several weddings going on, and then there's another country we saw during the middle of the week that we saw a wedding going on, and there was two weddings at the city hall here in Sweden, large, weddings where people would have to take off from work. And this is a little blurry, but this is the Soft Cock and Bar. uh, Undertaker freak goes there. Anyways, next picture. This was a real cool little alley that had a bunch of shops in it. We did so much shopping here. So many good little eatery little places that sell chocolates and pastries and whatnot. If you're in Stockholm, go down the street. I forget the name of it. And this is an example of a ship that uses sails that doesn't sink in Stockholm. Anyways, this is one of my favorite pictures when we were in Stockholm right after we were boarding the ship. Huge thunderstorms moved through, and I managed to capture it from the balcony of the room on our ship of the storm coming through. So it's pretty cool. You could see it was like bright and sunny, and then Mother of God storm clouds moving in behind it. And then once it moved through, the sun came back out, and this is a shot of once the storm moved through. That's a theme park that I didn't get a chance to go to. I forget the name of it, but anyways, it's in Stockholm, Sweden. Cheap plug for Hyundai. Moving on, Iceland. Right outside of the airport that we flew into Iceland, we see this thing, and what is it? Like seriously, anyone out there from Iceland know what this is? I thought like it was like a dinosaur hatching out of a dinosaur egg. Um, and this is in the capital of Iceland. What the fuck? This place. Rakes. The fuck sound is K followed by J supposed to make Iceland? Anyways, we're in Reykjavik land. I know the English language is ridiculous to Iceland, but anyways, this was another beautiful day on our trip. Oh my god, Iceland was such gorgeous countryside. One of the interesting things about Iceland, and our tour guide explained it to us, and we'll get to this in a little later, is there's not many trees there. And this is inside the airport. There is all these little stained glass things painting the ceiling. But the reason why there's not many trees there is because they've basically used up all the trees to build things from the lumber. And a lot of things aren't built out of wood there because there's no trees left, and they're trying to regrow the trees, but that takes time so you get suitable lumber from the trees. And it's like weird, you don't think about things like that because Iceland's just on its own little secluded island there, and there's no trains. But they do have horses, and this is the steed that I rode. I forget its name. We did a little countryside tour by horseback. Really cool, and as you can tell, I clearly had one of the greatest horses in the history of civilization. I mean, look at that thing. That is oh. Anyways, that's my horse. So, anyways, this is our tour guide. The girl next to me was another girl that was in our group. That's not my wife. My wife's taking the picture. She was from Australia, and she's explaining and showing us how like the trees in this area have all been replanted. There's a lot of grasslands with not many trees, and things aren't made out of wood, like I said before, because all the wood has been, or all the trees have been cultivated in the past to make what houses first started popping up in Iceland. And she was telling us how like there's like there's no trains and like all the things that you would see in other countries. Um, our tour guide actually spent some time, went to college in Missouri, so she was familiar with the Western world beyond Iceland. Again, it was a very very good tour. It was fun to do it on horseback. The lady whose name I forget, who also had the same first name as the other girl that was from Australia. Even though she kept calling her my wife's name, and I kept saying to my wife, and I was like, why does she keep forgetting that lady's name? It's her same first name. But anyways, whatever. Beautiful, beautiful countryside. We're riding through here. All this is just fresh volcanic rock. It's the kind of like lava coal that you would see in a conventional grill nowadays. The propane, gas, heat, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, lava rock. Beautiful. My wife's taking these pictures, so if they don't look suitable to the quality that you've been seeing in the previous pictures, that's why. I'm just kidding. She does a fine job. Anyway, Fjordborg. Interesting. Beautiful time in Iceland, and no McDonald's in Iceland. Our tour guide was even telling us about that. And when I got off my horse, this is exactly what he did. The only reason I can think of why he did this is he was so thrilled to have me on his back. Clearly. Anyway, no McDonald's in Iceland. Our tour guide was telling us how there used to be one in Reykjavik, whatever the name of this capital city is. Oh, inception moment, me taking a picture, and that was a picture that you saw earlier in this. My wife taking a picture of me taking a picture that was used in the slideshow. And Goofy Horse grinning, followed by the laughing Icelandic horse that I used in a picture before. Anyways, um, I'll just leave this guy's laughing ass up here as I finish telling you my story of the McDonald's Iceland. Once we got done this tour, they brought us in. We had a meal at the house, the stable, whatever you want to call it there, at the horse tour farm. And she was explaining to us how the McDonald's failed in Iceland because the local Icelandic people don't want that shit. They don't like getting imported meats and stuff like that because they have enough meat that they grow of their own, and they're very prideful in the meat that they grow there, or the cattle that they get the meat from. Anyway, um, and it was an abysmal failure. And is the one in Reykjavik closed down, and it was like 2010 or something. And there's a little town hall in the center of the capital city that I'm not going to try and pronounce again, where they have a McDonald's large French fry under some glass, and it still looks as fresh as the day they were made. Interesting. And it's been there for 6+ years now. Yeah, it's good food. McDonald's is very good food. But the Icelanders reject it, and I love you even more for that, Iceland. Anyways, people, this concludes the photographic tour of my trip through Europe. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for all the feedback and some of the questions you guys had. I'm going to be making one more follow-up video to all of this because a number of you guys have asked me questions or pointed something out. Some of you guys are native to the countries that I've been displaying here and like clarifying things. Because again, I don't know much about these countries going into them, like especially a country like Estonia. I couldn't even find it on a map before I went there. So, I've, no qualms admitting my level of ignorance of knowledge about these specific places I went to beyond just a general scope of things. So there's a lot of good feedback you guys have given me, and I want to address a few things, answer a few questions you guys gave, and tell you some rather humorous stories because there's stuff I didn't tell you about, including a very interesting Japanese tour group from Norway. Oh my god, I oh my god, I still laugh and kind of shake my head about this every time I think about it. But we'll get to that in the wrap up final video for all this. Thank you guys for watching and listen to me meander about all these places I went to. I feel I'm doing a nice little service here sharing this because not many people get to tour the world in the way that I did over this past summer, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So, even though I was in YouTube retirement, I came out and did a little something more than football videos here for you guys. Thank you guys for appreciating it. Thank you guys for listening. One more video of me telling you about my trip to Europe, and then we'll call it a day and go right back to me pissing and moaning about the Eagles and how much they suck. Yeah. See you next time, guys. And we'll just throw in one more picture here of the dog. This dog was so fucking adorable. Like ran around with the horses, and it was the owners of the horse farm. So cute. I forget his name, but he was so cute. And he almost got stepped on and crushed by 10 different horses. Take care, guys.